Good morning, Alegre Ramos here, your self-care forward productivity and time management expert. And what does that mean? It means that I help you prioritize yourself and your goals, but prioritize yourself is always the first thing. Because what my students and clients have told me is that, hey, Allegra, all these great tips that you have for making me more productive are amazing, but I feel like I don't have the bandwidth because I feel frantic and uncared for. And that's where self care comes in. And that's what today's topic is all about. It's about friendships as a form of self care, and specifically making time for people who matter, AKA ladies trip, which I just got back from, which was amazing. If you've listened to me before, then you know that I have some really close friends that I try to see annually, and you've seen many of them on the podcast previously. But, it's just so important to be sure to fill your cup up. And sometimes friends fill your cup in a different way than anything else that you can do. And so we're going to talk about that today with my friend Christine, who you've seen on the podcast. She's amazing. I call her like my most diplomatic friend. Like anytime I need to figure out how to say something that's a little bit challenging, she's the person I go to because she always wordsmiths it perfectly. She's also very, very knowledgeable about something called nonviolent communication, which I've also heard. I'll have to ask her. I don't know if she knows the term. Some people prefer a less negative sounding term for nonviolent communication. I forget but the book, the person who came up with the idea, the book is called Nonviolent Communication, but it's really about a more effective way of communicating, helping people to really hear what it is that you're saying rather than being triggered by whatever it is you say. So that's why she's my most diplomatic friend. And if you're new here, welcome. I am an author of these 4 books, and I'm so excited to announce that this book is finally available as an audiobook. So this is my best-selling book, 3-2-1 Done, 3 Simple Solutions to Get Your To-Do List Done. And I always tell people that this is like making time, right? Because what's the one thing none of us have enough of? Time. And this gives you a strategic framework so that anytime you look at like your to-do list, whether it's a personal to-do list or professional to-do list, you'll say, I know exactly where to start. And I know exactly when I'm going to do this and when I'm going to do that. And I know which order I'm going to do things in, because that's what the framework teaches you. So it's finally available as an audiobook. You can get the links to where it's available at bywdreams.com. Just go there. It's populating all across the internet, but everyone populates it at a different time and without warning. So I'll update the list, but if you go to bywdreams.com, you'll see where it's available now. Apple, it's available at Apple. It's available on Kobo. And it's narrated by me. So if you love listening to me, well, here's your chance to listen to me even more. I'm so proud. I'm interested to hear what Christine says in a second, but I'm super proud because this has been a goal of mine for a long time. And for those of you who've been around, my friend Natasha helped me start BYW Dreams. And Natasha is a professional voice coach. So I always thought it would be Natasha recording these, and then it didn't happen, and she's focusing on other goals. And so I was like, you know what? I have the equipment to do this. Let me give it a try. And you know what? Sometimes, have you ever done something where it was actually easier than you expected? That was this, right? Like I had it built up in my head. The book came out 4 years ago. I could have done this. I think I got this equipment 2 years ago. I could have done this. And it was this big thing in my head. So anyway, so thank you for joining me. Go to this website. And also too, I see right now I have the 5calls.org up here. I just want to highlight that again, because if there are things happening in our world that you are not happy with, this is the phone number you need to call. They make it so easy. All you do is enter your zip code. They give you your representatives' numbers. They give you scripts about whatever it is that you want to voice your opinion about. And it makes it so easy. I am someone who I rarely ever called before, but they make it so easy that I've been calling regularly. So make your voice heard. It's important. And now I'm going to bring on my friend Christine. Hey,
Hi.
Christine.
Hi. I'm so glad to be back.
Thank you for being here. Do you know what that other term was besides nonviolent communication?
Yes, I think we talked about the idea of it not just being constructive, because I think a lot of people understand how important it is to provide constructive feedback, but it's being compassionate, right? It's taking
So
in,
compassionate communication, maybe is that
yeah,
one of the other terms people are using?
yes, because when you're compassionate in your communication, you're not thinking about what you need. You're thinking about what that other person may be struggling with or going through, and you're finding ways to communicate with them that's going to reach them. Because that's really ultimately the goal, I think, with that type of communication.
Right. So, before we start, I like to pull a card from my little deck of positive chaos.
Yes.
And for those of you watching, I never read these in advance, so I have no idea what it's going to say. By the way, if you're joining us live, I can see the comments. If you have a question, I'd be happy to answer it if it's, relevant to the conversation. And if you are watching the recording, this does go up as the Harness the Power of Planning podcast. I will get those comments too. It just might take a little bit longer. So I think this will be episode 161. Okay, let's
Awesome.
see. I know, 161. I can't believe it. Let's see what it says. Oh, upside down. There are some things you learn best in calm and some in storm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Willa Cather. Well,
Okay.
thank you, Willa Cather. I do not know who that is. I'm always amazed at how, like, first of all, I've been doing this forever, I feel like, and I've never pulled the same card. And secondly, there's so many people whose wisdom I'm learning from that I've never heard of before. There are some things you learn best in calm and some in storm. Do you want to, does that, do you have something to say right away about that, or do you want me to start?
Sure. No, I think I've been doing a lot of reading on how the brain processes information and how we're optimized for safety,
Right.
and that chaos or uncertainty or even hearing opinions that don't align to our worldview are very scary. So I think it makes sense to me that, right, the calm environment is conducive. But I think that when we're afraid of the storm, we are potentially missing a lot of really important information that we hadn't considered. So I think finding comfort in the storm, so to speak, let's just hear things that we might otherwise dismiss.
And when you say we're optimized for safety, do you mean, what do you mean by that?
I mean that so I think let's take the political atmosphere. I think that I have to admit, when I've been hearing opinions that are counter to what I believe, I tend to dismiss them immediately because
Okay.
it doesn't feel safe. And I think that when I really dive into why I'm dismissing it, again, it's just for my own peace of mind. I don't like being
So you're
in,
avoiding pain,
I'm
maybe.
avoiding it. I'm just avoiding discomfort. I'm avoiding the storm. I'm avoiding um, things that just don't feel good to hear. But I think that ultimately a, we're doing ourselves a disservice in not listening through the storm. So I guess when I hear that card, I think to myself, that's just another opportunity to be open to something that's uncomfortable. Because, look, yes, it might reaffirm what you already believe to be true. But I think the truth is, we are still learning, and we do need to be hearing things that are uncomfortable and not be in our echo chamber. So I think that's how I would interpret the calm versus the storm.
So I interpret it a little bit differently, and
Okay.
I think this was something you and I even spoke about when I saw you recently, which was I had read an interview with Michael J. Fox where he says that his
Mm.
great regret as a parent is that he is unable to raise his children as scrappy, that was the
Mm-hmm.
word he used, as he was, because of the hardship he endured as a young person, and how that forced him to like figure things out, right?
Sure.
And I know that I've seen video, maybe you've seen this video. There's a video of a child, 5, 6, maybe a small 7-year-old, I don't know, taking care of a younger sibling, I'm assuming, in diapers, cooking stir fry over an open flame.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just the things that we're capable of when we have to. Like, you just have no choice. That's what you have to do. And so to me, you know, there's some things learned best in calm, right? Like, probably the things that require a lot of just thought processing
Yeah. A lot of
requires calm.
focus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are things that you learn just because you have to. And that's what I take away from that. Like, how can you learn the things that you know you need to learn without putting yourself in a dangerous position, right? Is it
Okay.
possible? Is it not possible? You know, I don't know. But that's how I interpret it, that there are just some things that you learn by necessity when you're
Yeah.
in a storm.
I like that.
Well, thank you, Willa Cather, for that thought. So, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Christine and I recently saw each other. We were on vacay with two other friends, so there's four of us. And I think last year we actually did the podcast while we were on vacation.
That's
We,
right.
yes, we weren't able to make it work. There was just a, it's just a lot. There was a lot happening.
There was a lot happening.
Like, I actually had my computer with me. I brought the microphone just like I
Yeah.
did last year and everything, and
Yeah.
it just did not happen.
Well, we had our own calm and storm during
Yes, yes,
during the
there
trip.
was a medical issue that developed, but even without that, like we just, you know, what were we doing? I don't know. Like somehow we managed to fill the time,
We did.
and like it takes a lot of time eating,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Right. Well, and the Pelican Brief, I think, is a good 2-hour movie from 1982. Yeah.
Yes, we watched the Pelican Brief for some reason. I'm not sure why. Um, that was like, wow, movies were really different back then.
Very different.
Yeah, it's so noticeable. But you know, this is something that we do on an annual basis because we find it's to be so valuable. There's just,
Hmm.
I mean, first of all, Christine and I have known each other since we were 12,
Right.
12 or 3rd, 8th grade. We met
Yeah.
in 8th
Eighth
grade.
grade. Yeah.
And I can only speak for myself. There is value to having people in your life who've known you for a long time, right? Like
Agreed.
you have a shorthand. They know your stories. They know your family.
Yeah.
They know your background.
Yes. Yes.
So like I really treasure that aspect of it, just having these long-term friendships. And these the three other people, Christine among them, don't live near me.
Hmm.
So we have to put in this effort to see each other. And I'm so blessed that when I suggested the idea of the four of us, sometimes there's five of us, had all met each other at different
Hmm.
points because of, you know, life events. Like, for instance, they all met at my wedding, they all met at, you know, my bridal shower stuff, all that stuff. And then it's interesting because some of the other women have met for other reasons. Like two of them actually met before I knew one of them because they had an internship at the same company at one point. I don't know if you know that. Angela and Susan.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes. So I already knew Susan, but Susan and Angela met the summer before I met Angela
Got
because
it.
they had both done an internship at the same company. So anyway, so there's all these interesting connections, and so we've all become friends over the decades because that's how long it's been. And I don't remember when it happened. I think what happened was I was traveling for a work thing about 10 years ago. And it was kind of closer to all of you. And I just said, hey, I'd love to see all of you. Let's meet right in Houston. Was
Yes,
that the first time?
that's right. It might have been. Wow.
I think Houston was the first time. Like, kind of the organic. I mean, we all got together for like I said, these big events, bridal shower, baby shower,
Hmm.
wedding, whatever. But we hadn't seen each other for a while. And I was like, I'm going to Houston. And they all live more towards that direction.
Hmm.
And I said, hey, it'd be great if we could all meet up. And we had so much fun.
Yes.
We said, let's make this annual, right?
Agreed. Yes.
And I think too, the other thing too was that when that happened, all of our kids were not babies anymore. And
Right.
so old enough that we could kind of get away. And that one was really short. I think, was that only 3 days?
That was only 3 or 4 days because I think I came in like on a Thursday and maybe headed out that Sunday.
Because you and Angela have the youngest child,
Right.
the
Right.
youngest children. So yeah, so I think, your youngest were both a little bit on the young side.
Right.
And so
Right.
3 days was all we could do. But we've done longer ones. I think we had done 10 days at one point and
10 days
decided that
was,
was a little too long.
yeah, 10 days was Hawaii.
Yes.
Yeah. Not too long in that location.
Right.
Maybe just our significant others and children and the comments that we receive from family around the length.
Well, also, I have to say, I did feel like coming back into regular life was a harder landing
True.
with 10 days.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I feel like the sweet spot is 7 days. Okay.
Yes.
And I know one question I get when people hear that I do this annual girls' trip that is, 7 days, they are always like, how do you do 7 days? And you know how you do 7 days? You start with 2 days.
Yes.
Because when my kiddo was around 2, I went on a 2-day retreat. And, you know, my husband was a little panicked at the idea of me not being there. Not that he couldn't do it, but
Sure.
just it was a new experience for him.
Yeah. Yeah. There would just be a space there he wasn't used to. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, people need to feel confident that they can manage without you there. And funny how he doesn't like when he leaves for work, he's never like, "Oh, what are you going to be okay? Do you need
Yeah.
nah.
You mean he's never said, here's a list I've created that I
Yeah,
thought could be helpful and what you
no,
need to be tracking on?
not at all. But when I leave for work, okay, but anyway, that's a different conversation. So we'll talk about that another time. But you have to create, this is actually a big part of productivity is this idea of making a little wedge. The Japanese term for it is the Kaizen way, which
Okay.
is continuous small improvements, right? But sometimes improvements means just making a space for the improvement. So my friend Natasha, she used to always talk about how when she started stretching, she literally would just stretch while she was blending her smoothie. So
Okay.
30-second stretch, teeny tiny, right? Like everyone can do a 30-second stretch. So maybe 2 days away is too big. Maybe you need an even smaller wedge. Maybe you're just like an afternoon away, or I'm spending the night
Sure.
at a friend's. Okay. So you have to create a little wedge. And by the way, I also encourage my spouse to take his time away. So
Yes.
I'm not just doing this just for me. He also is encouraged because, you know, family is wonderful, spouses are wonderful, but I don't think any one person is anyone's end all be all, right?
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
So wedges, small amounts of time. Do you have anything to add to that? Like start small?
I love that because I think that that, to your point, sets the stage around, oh, yeah, this was absolutely manageable. I think it also reminds yourself and your partner, your children, that they are in fact capable. I think oftentimes I'll hear from someone that's like, "Oh, it would fall apart. Oh, it's
Mm,
it's just not possible. Oh, there's too much to do." And I think of that idea of, if your life is this box and you've got, your right hand in one corner and your left hand in another and your right foot in the bottom corner, etc., there is no space for
mm-hmm.
your child or for your significant other, right, to step in and take that corner, so to speak, and manage it. And so I think that we have to trust that, to your point, our partner is capable, right? Like we married capable people.
And maybe they need a little bit of a storm to
There you
even raise
go.
their level.
That's right. That's right. You also, I think, it's fair to remind yourself about the bonding opportunity it can create if you still
True.
have children in the home or if you don't have children in the home. I loved what you said about we are not the end all be all for our partner, right? Or children. And so that alone time, I think, for a partner allows them to be thinking about what they need to be thinking about, whether that's to decompress, to take on a project that they've been wanting to do, but haven't had the bandwidth to do it. So we have to really think about this as opportunities for our family that's really healthy for them. So
Yeah.
yes, we're doing something for us,
Yes.
but that's not one-sided.
Yes.
That's really, there's a benefit for everyone in the household.
Yeah, my husband's parenting skills went up so measurably when I started leaving him with our baby for 4 hours a day
Sure,
and just said, "You can do this."
you've got it.
Yeah. I try not to call me because I think you got this,
That's right.
you know?
I trust you.
Yeah. And he gained so much confidence and just like figure it out, you know. I'm doing air quotes for anyone who's listening to the podcast, figure it outedness, like going back to today's quote, there's some things you learn best in calm and some in storm. Like there were some he couldn't learn that confidence without me stepping away.
That's right.
Just reality.
Yes, you created a space for him exactly to step into. And if we are always taking up space because we think, oh, well, I just know how to do it,
Right.
or frankly, I do it better,
Right.
or my child prefers that I do it.
Right.
I don't think that is ideal. And I think that, again, you simply have not given room for someone to step into that area and take ownership.
And the other thing too is that humans, we learn by doing.
Yes.
Like you can read a book about running a marathon. You're not ready to run a marathon after you've read that book.
That's right.
And we really prioritize book learning. But again, just go back to the marathon. Like just because you read a cookbook doesn't mean you know how to cook.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I make my kiddo cook. I'm like, okay, you've seen me do this dish many times. Your turn. And she's like, well, I'm not sure what to do. I'm like, well, what do you think? And a lot of times she's internalized more than she's aware. And the places where she has questions, I can't anticipate that without her doing it. So again, it's kind of like I'm putting her in the storm by saying, okay, now you're going to cook this thing. So the other day she learned how to make pesto.
Oh.
And she also learned how to cook chicken. The way I cook it, I guess, is because there's lots of ways to cook chicken, but the way I do it specifically. And yeah. And so now she has 2 more dishes under her belt, And so
I love that.
They're just some things that you just have to let people do to do it. Okay. So anyway, back to self-care families, self-care ladies trip. So we do it annually. We started small. Now we get to 7 days. Another tip that we have in terms of planning a trip is pick a place where someone knows a lot about it. I feel like that just has made it really easy for us, right?
I like that. Yes.
Like we've always gone places where one of us has some more history than the others. And so they can pick out, oh, here are the things we should do. Here are the places we can go. It just makes the planning really easy.
Yep.
And you can just settle in and enjoy yourself more rather than trying to figure out a new place together, which is a really fun adventure. But I don't think that's the stage we're at right now. Like the stage we're at right now is we just want to decompress when we're all together.
Yes.
Versus like maybe when our kiddos are out of the house, we'll be like, let's go on an adventure.
Right. Yeah. Machu Picchu hike.
Yeah. No, I mean, that sounds amazing to me. Not right now.
Sure.
Right now, that just sounds like a lot of research.
Yes. Yes. A lot of time away. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So make it reasonable. Yes.
Yeah. Make it reasonable. Make it close enough that the travel time is, what you want to be doing for the amount of time you have off. because
Yes.
again, like Machu Picchu, right? Like how many hours would we be traveling versus actually there? So,
Yeah.
all things to consider. And then the other thing too is, make time for these friends regularly. All of these ladies I speak to regularly. Christine and I talk almost every day,
Yep.
Monday through Friday. Like she's in a different time zone than I am, and we know that if we talk at this time, I'm free and she's free.
Right.
And so we pretty much talk at that time almost every day.
Yeah. It's perfect carpool time or pickup time. Yeah.
Yeah, drop off time for me, right?
Right. Right.
So, if there are people in your life that you care about, that they fill you up in some way, hopefully you fill each other up,
Mm-hmm.
right? That they fill you up in some way, prioritize that relationship and make a time to connect with them, even if it's just by phone.
Yes.
Like it's funny because when I see these ladies in person, it almost feels like I just saw them in person the other day because we do have such meaningful connections kept up all year long through phone
Yes.
conversations.
Yes. We're making the effort to connect. And I think what I really appreciate about friendships, I had called Susan for kind of this, random insight in a certain area. Hadn't talked with her in months, but it felt natural
Mm-hmm.
because there's no judgment around, well, I haven't talked to you in a while. Why
Right.
why are you calling? I think what I really like about our friendships and the dynamic is that we're all very respectful of, to your point, we're in different time zones, our kids are at different ages. We have different priorities in terms of, some people are working on their business, some people have a full time job. And so, what I think is also really important when you're trying to develop these relationships, these friendships, is really being on board with how they ebb and flow and
Well,
not feeling put off if you haven't connected in a while.
true. And just again, the caveat, the ladies on this trip, they were all my friends kind of first.
Right,
And they've
right.
developed friendships of their own. But, for Christine to not talk to Susan for a long period of time, like that's normal. Whereas, like, I
Yeah,
might be talking to them all regularly, all through the year. So, I think another thing that I feel really blessed by, and maybe hopefully you watching can learn from this, was when I first suggested us all doing a vacation together, a little part of me felt selfish because I was like, well, these are all my friends.
sure.
Is that weird that I want us all to go on vacation together? However, I saw that when we did do that one, like, well, first of all, over the years, I've seen that they've enjoyed each other when we've all gotten together.
Mhm.
Like, it's always been easy hanging out, no drama.
Good dynamic.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
dynamic. And, chances are, if someone's a really good friend of yours, like all these ladies are, your friends are probably going to like your friends. Like that's just
sure.
kind of like how it works. So I remember feeling a little bit of guilt. I was like, okay, but we've always had so much fun together. So what if they say yes? You know? So take a chance. Like maybe you're the me in this situation where you're like, well, I like these people. I want to see them more. Suggest getting together. And maybe at first, if you're just trying it out, if they haven't spent a lot of time together, just do a one night or two night
Yes.
thing, 30 minutes or an hour from home.
Yeah.
So that,
Test the waters.
yeah, test the
Yes.
waters.
Yes.
But look what you could get. Like we are all now in a chat together. It's great because we all have different expertises, we all have different backgrounds. Christine is per her title, a stay-at-home mom, but she also spent many years working in HR for big companies, and has a psychology degree. So we all bring different things to the table, and it's great because we can all learn from each other. Like I had a question about something to do with the stock market, and one of the people in the chat worked on Wall Street. So I was like, hey, can you explain this to me as a layperson? And so, it's a greater resource beyond hanging out together for a vacation.
Right. Yeah, I love that. And I loved what you said about taking a chance and asking a couple of friends to get together. I think another thing that's also important for your listeners, if they don't know who to ask, maybe there's an existing trip that they know some ladies take annually. Do what I did. And it is hard to put yourself out there. But a good friend of mine was talking about this annual golf trip that she does. It sounded so great. So I just said, if you ever have somebody that cancels and you need someone to fill their spot, think of me. And she said, really? Okay, yes. It hadn't occurred to her that
Mm-hmm.
maybe I would want to spend time, to your point about her and her friends,
Right.
because I didn't know them. And some
Right. Right. Right.
people don't really want to go on a trip unless they know every single person.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the next year she invited me.
There you
And
go.
it was a fantastic trip, and something that I don't necessarily think would have happened if I hadn't said, that sounds like a great trip. I would love to be a part of it. So I think it's also important for us to not always wait to be
Yes.
asked. You
Right.
know, whether we have to plan it,
Put
which
yourself
I
out
know,
there.
yeah, exactly, which I know is hard to plan, or right, put yourself out there.
The other thing too is like maybe you've moved recently and so
Mhm.
you don't have people near you that you know. Look into trips around topics that interest you, right? Like
Yes.
whether it's, wine tasting or foraging for plants or, pottery. Like there are so many little mini trips that you can do around, it seems like any topic. Like I'm
Yes.
constantly like, wait, what? Okay. And go out and meet people with similar interests. Like that's always a good place to start. So, yeah, lots of opportunities. So, today's topic again was self care by prioritizing people that are important to you. And
Hmm.
hopefully, at some point, you're able to do a ladies' trip or a friend's trip. And the tips that I have to take away are, first of all, if you're a mom, if you're a parent, start small, right? You
Yes.
can't just jump into, I mean, maybe you can, but it might be harder for you to jump into a 7 or 10 day trip. Start with a one,
Hmm.
2, 3 day trip and build from there. Two, if you are getting a group of friends together and there's no one who is like, yeah, I'm going to do all the planning, I'm going to plan all of this for you, and you kind of just want to make it easier, then pick a place that someone has deep knowledge
Yeah,
in.
agreed.
And three, take a chance.
Take a
Either
chance.
ask your friends or invite yourself along or, check out some retreat that you can do around a topic that interests you.
That's great advice.
So those are the 3 ways. And, just a reminder, my book is an audiobook. I, I'm so happy. And, it was honestly, it was embarrassingly easy to do. So I just want you to be inspired by that and think to yourself, is there something that I've built a mental wall around
Yes.
that I'm just
Right.
thinking is impossible? Speaking of which, I need to have you back on the podcast because Christine has for years been talking about how she wants to write.
Yes.
And, I kept like
You're very good
nudging.
about it. Very good about it. Yes. And now I'm almost done with chapter 2.
Okay. And so
So,
now she's doing it. So, we all do it. We all build these mental barriers. I don't know
sure.
why in my head I had made it so hard because
Yeah.
it was embarrassingly easy once I figured it out.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah.
so be inspired by that. Tackle that thing that you've been wanting to do for a long time, that look at it with fresh eyes. Maybe ask someone, hey, if you were going to do this thing, how would you do it? And maybe they will help illuminate for you how easily you can actually do this thing.
I
Okay.
love that. Yeah.
And thank you for joining me, Christine. And I have some guests that are going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. I think maybe next week is going to be Jeff Harry. I might have the podcast on a different day than a Thursday because of when he is available. His tagline is "How to Make Work Suck Less."
Okay.
He's a public speaker. He and I have spoke together on many panels. And then also there's a triathlete that I'm going to be interviewing at some point soon. So excited about that. So tune in for future Harness the Power of Planning. And remember, planning makes everything easier. Thank you.
Bye, guys.